Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, dearly beloved all around the world. Inshallah, you're well. Ramadan Kareem. The days are going through Ramadan very quickly, and alhamdulillah, we're getting used to our fasts. We're feeling pretty well today. Inshallah, you guys are feeling good as well. Today's show, we will be discussing obesity and anorexia and how that affects people all around the world. But since it's Ramadan and and our discussion is on health and indeed on eating habits, we're going to start with discussing Samahat Sayyid, Father Bahaloom, who is here with me. Assalamu alaikum, Sayyidina. Your eating habits. Since every single show that we've been starting, you've been saying, we must have a show about this, we must discuss this. So here is our chance to discuss this great regime that you put yourself through before Ramadan started. Sayyidina, firstly, how are you feeling today?
Alhamdulillah, great.
I'm a bit more energetic than yesterday, to be honest.
Yesterday it was, from your side, it was disaster.
Yeah.
No, Alhamdulillah, I feel great, and this Ramadan, up to now, I don't want to
jinx yourself.
تقريبا يعني. But it's one of the best Ramadans. Although I didn't feel well before the month, and I was thinking that I might not be able to make it this Ramadan. And I went to the doctors, and I've just finished my medication last day before Ramadan. What I did is, for a few years, I've heard from friends, and we've been practicing that, as you know, most people when they fast, they have severe headache in the first day and the first few days, actually. And this headache mainly due to the lack of tea or coffee.
Oh, so it's because of the caffeine addiction.
Caffeine addiction. So what we used to do, we used to stop tea or make the kind of stop gradual. Like first day we have tea at 1 o'clock, second at 2, third at 3, and so on and so forth. This year what I did, and the thing which implied to me that my wife and my daughter were fasting, so I said, why don't I try gradual fasting.
What do you mean by gradual fasting?
Well, in the old days they used to do it for the children. They call it Som al-Asafir.
Oh yeah, I remember that when I was really young. They'd make me fast up until like Dhuhr time, right?
Exactly. Or up to 11 o'clock, depends on. So I did a mix and match between Som al-Asafir, and which is the fast of birds. How do between Som al-Asafir and between the tea program. So first day, I had my breakfast at around 12:30.
What time do you usually have breakfast?
Usually at 9, if not 8:30.
Yeah? And what kind of breakfast do you have?
I had a good breakfast usually.
You like eggs and...
eggs, I don't take egg that regular because of cholesterol. Although my cholesterol is under control, but I take egg once a week or maybe sometimes less.
So what's a good hearty breakfast for you?
For me, actually, I mean, what I said, a good, usually piece of cake or croissant with tea. But sometimes I have bits of bread.
It's very funny saying
cheese,
because you could always imagine an Arab would be having something like bagila biddihin, which is a very famous Arabic dish.
I don't.
We don't really have French breakfast.
No, I don't. I don't do that. If I have cheese with Jaws, which is walnut, ahsantu, because it's makruh to have cheese only.
Is it really?
It is, yeah.
Oh,
it makes you forgetting things. You're Tunisian, and it's highly mustahab, highly recommended to have it with the nuts.
We have walnuts specifically.
Walnuts, Jaws, yeah. So if I don't have the piece of cake, I have small piece of bread and cheese and the walnut and tea. And this is it, usually.
So that's usually at 9 o'clock?
8:30, between 8:30 and 9:30.
So your gradual fasting, how many days before Ramadan did you start it?
I started this year 3 days.
So, okay, so the first day, instead of having breakfast at 9, you had breakfast at 12 in the afternoon?
It was 1.
1 in the afternoon? After
but I had water.
You had, okay.
Yeah, I had water, and then I had start having my breakfast at 1. And the breakfast was, because sometimes I have cornflakes, so this times
you like cereal as well?
I like cereal,
okay.
But the proper one, the healthy one. I took the cereal one bowl, but I ate half of it. Half of it at 1 o'clock. And tea I had at 1:30, 2 o'clock, tea bag, which usually I don't have tea bag, but
No,
tea
no, the
bag
tea in
as
your
a
house is very
respect.
tasty.
Yeah, but this time it's not the property. It's the
So is the caffeine less? a bit?
less. Yeah, the one with
The
za'faran. And
concentration.
so even the tea was a cheating tea. It wasn't a proper tea. So that make me half dizzy. And then by 3, 4 o'clock, I had or 4 something, I had half banana. And 2 hours later, by 6 o'clock, I had a few grapes, and then I slept because I was tired. Then
When
I
did you
had
wake up?
iftar. I had iftar.
About 9.
No, I
Something.
woke up at 8.
Okay.
I slept for an hour, and I woke up at 8. Then I had iftar with the
Okay,
family.
actually, that was the first day of the regime. On a usual day, what time would your lunch be? We know your breakfast is at 9. What time is your lunch?
No, I had a proper small lunch at 1 or between 1 and 1:30.
And then you'll have
A
dinner.
small sandwich and juice and
prawn,
tea,
usually. I remember you like
something like that. Yeah,
sandwiches.
and tea and milk or white tea or white coffee. It depends. And the proper dinner I had at 6.
And then you wouldn't eat anything else at night, or you'd have like
6
tea
plus. No,
in the evening, or fruits usually.
No, I do have fruit, and sometimes I have. I've got kind of dried bread, which I bring from Iran or Iraq. Here they have it, but I prefer the one I had with yogurt and maybe a piece of small piece of smoked salmon or chicken breast.
So you have about 4 meals a day usually.
Yeah, the one
But
at
very
night, not
small,
every.
small,
The
small,
one
small.
at night, not every day, because the 6 o'clock dinner sometimes we
Fills
have
you.
it at 6:30. By the time we had the dinner, and then I had tea with a small piece of sweet, that can stand me till usually 10. But at 10 o'clock, if I feel like I need to have something, I have the slight thing, small thing, and then the fruit.
Okay.
So it's not a proper detailed meal. No, I don't. If it's a salad, I will take a salad, but not fruit by itself if I feel like I want to eat something. The issue is in the last 2 years, even my dinner, I'm not eating as before. In the old days, we used to have a big big plate of
Rice.
rice and curries. The plate now is not full. Half of it I take. So that's why by 10 o'clock I need to fill the stomach with something.
small.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first day, instead of 9 o'clock having breakfast, you have breakfast at 12.
12:30,
and
1-ish.
something small, and then at
Uh,
4 o'clock you'd have something very, very small, like half a banana. Then you'd have your dinner at 6.
No, I haven't
No,
had
then
any.
you just had futur.
Just few grape and then futur.
Okay.
And water.
And water. Second day.
Second day, instead of 12:31, it was 1:32, and it was less. And water. And the tea, instead of 1 o'clock, the tea bag, I had the tea bag at 3, 4 o'clock. I cheated a bit with a bit of sugar. I put more sugar this time
Why?
because I felt weak.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then I had the tea because I had a special tea which I bring from Mashhad with za'faran, so I can have like a kamrang, a light full color, and I can have it by itself if there is sugar with
Well,
it.
it has no flavor in it.
Because with the sugar it has the flavor, and that was it. It became like my soup. And then I had a few grapes by 7, 6, and that's it. And then the other day, the third
day.
which is the third day, 1:32, bit of cornflakes and milk. 4:35, the tea bag with the sugar, and few grapes, and that's it.
Continuous water or?
Water, not continuous. No,
Oh, I see.
continuous when I feel thirsty.
Okay,
During those 3 days.
so the
Just the
first,
first day I was taking water as, even the first day, water when I need.
so the first day when you started to fast, how did you feel?
I didn't feel anything. I feel great, and this is the first year I feel the way I felt in Ramadan. Usually first day I used to lie. يعني I used to be like janaza. يعني first 2 days used to be very difficult, but this year alhamdulillah. I highly advise people to follow this program because you will never feel like there's something different. And alhamdulillah I made it. And by the way, I'm very يعني نحس with song. I'm very hard when it gets to fasting because I like food and I like having a small amount of food.
You have a very systematic approach, even to your eating.
And when I get bored, I need my tea. So I'm a bit choosy when it gets to food and to this and with the song because I've got a stomach problem. I'm very, very nasty and choosy when it gets to fasting. But alhamdulillah, it worked with me, and I highly advise everyone to follow this program. You won't feel it first 2 3 days. Alhamdulillah, today is the fourth day.
When you break your fast, what's the program you do? There's a nice thing that they used to do in Iran. I remember they would, for example, have a piece of date, cup of water, then they'd go pray, Maghrib for example, come back, then have a bit of cheese and walnut and stuff, and maybe go pray Isha or do something else, and then they'll come and have the full throttle meal. They won't just be like, boom.
Exactly, and they break the fast with tea or with hot water.
Yeah. Do you remember that? I mean, you've seen that when you go there.
Yeah, when I go there. I used to fast there for a few years.
What's your regime like when you break your fast?
In the last few years, in general, I've not been eating that much when I break the fast. So usually, either it's a soup or tea with walnut and cheese and small piece of bread, small light date. Usually when I used to have programs in the old days, when I lead the Jama'ah, I have plenty of date with water and I take the medication. And then after that we start with soup and or tea, and then finish praying and then eat the meal or the iftar. The iftar, whether it's this way or the other way, or whether you want to eat, don't eat much in the iftar. When you come to the iftar, if you feel that you want to eat one plate, eat quarter.
I learned that lesson the hard way. The first day of breaking fast, we were actually here on the channel because we work very hard, and
I wish if I join you, because you seem like you've been taken care of.
The first day though, what happens is we made a bad decision. I don't know, when you're fasting, lots of things you start to, how you say, tishtihi, and you start to feel like you want this, you want that, you want the other thing. And because, like, what is it, 18 hours? How many hours are we fasting this year?
It is 18
Long
plus.
hours. By the time it comes to futur time,
Or 18
you
less,
just want to delve into the meal. So we had actually ordered burgers.
which is very bad, yeah.
You have no idea how bad.
Yeah.
And as soon as futur, there was no dates, nothing. Straight away I broke my fast with chips
Yeah,
and the.
it's very
I
bad.
had unbelievable ache in my stomach.
Yeah.
And I was thirsty as well. Of course, we do have a caller on the line. Let's see what they've been breaking their fast with these days. Salamu alaikum, caller. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Jassam. I'm calling from East London.
Assalamu alaikum, brother Jassam. Ramadan Kareem. How are your
Ramadan
iftars these
Kareem.
days?
Alhamdulillah, it's been good. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Do you have an opinion on this matter, or do you like the regime
have
Sayyid
a-
is on? Do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I just have a simple question. To the Sayyid, I've read a hadith online on Imam Ali, I believe it was, saying that we should start with a pinch of salt and end with a pinch of salt every single meal. What is the hikmah behind it? If there, as in, you know about it, or just wanted to know what's good about it.
Okay, thank you, brother Jassam,
Thank you.
for that question. Inshallah, we'll get to this topic. That's an interesting thing. It says Amir Mu'min alayhi salam, part of his regime was to start with a pinch of salt and end with a pinch of salt.
A little bit of salt. It's very useful, and even for those who forgot to start with it, they can. I mean, it happened to me so many times. If you start with it, you say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and you start. And when you finish, you have it and say Alhamdulillah. But if you've forgotten it, then while you are eating, you can have it and you say Alhamdulillah ala awwalihi wa akhirihi. Alhamdulillah ala awwalihi wa akhirihi. It's like the qada of this so. It's very useful. I mean, in my case, I haven't searched that much about it because I've got a low blood pressure. So always I feel I enjoy it when I have it. But I read a report. It's a pity that I don't remember the details, that it do something with the neutralizing the enzymes, and it helped kind of digesting food. Out of experience, when we ask people how they feel like, and when I start using it, I felt my stomach became better.
Okay, but question.
Why? How?
Isn't it mustahab for us to break our fast with tamr, which is sweet?
Here, and just something I want to mention, that not always we need to know the hikmah and philosophy behind things when there are ahadith, and because there are things which are we call tawqifiyah. Everything has got a benefit, but sometimes we do, sometimes we do not know. So like why صلاة الصبح is ركعتين, why صلاة الظهر is 4 ركعات, and so on and so forth. It's highly recommended to break the fast with dates. So
Yes, but that's sweet. It's not salty.
yeah,
so.
because when you are not eating, you need sugar, and medical reports proven that this increase the sugar level, and that immediately give the kind of thing to the brain, and otherwise you will come to the dinner and or to the iftar and start filling your stomach, and suddenly you feel thirsty, sleepy, and tired. You just lie down. When you take this date and then this warm kind of soup or whatever, and a piece of bread, and you eating gradually, that will help. And I highly recommend that we do it, as you said, the Iranian way, or even some of the Arab, they do it. It's tea with cheese and walnut and khudra, which is like mint or parsley, and small piece of bread, not a loaf of bread. Try to minimize the carbohydrate and the bread and or the rice. Not stopping it because you need it, but don't eat as much as you eat.
On a normal day.
أحسنتم. And another hint, is there another caller?
No.
Another hint is I started dieting 2 years ago, and I wish my wife is not hearing you, because she made a joke. She said that I'm not losing weight as much as I should, but I'm happy with the weight.
Saying that you've lost more weight than me.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Alhamdulillah. At least I'm not gaining, because I gained at that time and I was shocked. And in Ramadan, make best use of Ramadan. I reduced the amount of food I eat, specifically rice. In Ramadan, 2 years ago, I began the plate. I used to fill it, and you know the Iranian who used to fill it. So instead of filling it, first day, less filling. Second day, less, until I end up with half, if not less. And increase the curry, the maraq.
Stew.
Ahsan, the stew. And then you gradually feel that you are not eating rice as much as you are, or as much as you do. And bread, the maximum amount of bread I eat is this size. In the morning, maybe that size. At night, if I eat even, it's this size, if I do eat. And this is all because of Ramadan 2 years ago.
Okay, Sayyidina.
Because the stomach shrink, I think.
It does shrink indeed. We thank you for all those tips, and thank you for sharing your diet guide with us. It's been much illuminating, and to be honest, I put my hands up first and say I don't have a great diet, and I need to get onto that. So I'm going to start trying everything that you've told us today. After the break, we want to talk about a problem that's happening all around the world, specifically with people who lose weight too much, anorexia, and people who are gaining weight too much, obesity, and how it's affecting their psyche, and how some of the advice that you gave now in terms of dietary advice and religious advice, spiritual advice, psychological advice can help them. First, we need to find the root of this problem, and inshallah find solutions after the break. But you
remind me to talk about drinks then.
Drinks?
After the break, yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about drinking liquids after the break. Please do join us. Assalamu alaikum once again, dearly beloved. Just before the break, we were discussing Samahat Sayyid Father's dietary plans and how he's coping with Ramadan, and you told me to remind you to discuss drinking.
Yeah, it's not to discuss, just to mention, because
Yep.
We all in the bad habit of drinking a lot of fizzy and sugary drinks. I wouldn't say stop it, because I like some of the fizzy, and
I know you
some
like
of
your
the
7-Up.
I like my 7-Up, but I used to have a can of 7-Up every day. Now I'm having this amount in the glass of 7-Up,
Oh, okay.
or say half a glass of 7-Up, and or your juice. So if you can afford not to have it, it's great. Me myself, I couldn't, and I have this amount. And the doctor, my stomach specialist, she said that this is even useful for the stomach to have small amount of 7-Up by itself. 7-Up, I don't know about Coke and the others. Drinks, controlling the amount of drinks, the sugary drinks also has got a direct thing with your digestion system, with your weight, and with your diet program.
Well, I thank you for that.
And
useful
have
information. Yep.
more water as much as you can, and spend more money in buying the water you like. يعني pay for the water if you
So
like.
don't
this
drink
kind-
tap water.
No, don't drink
Okay.
tap water, and drink if you like fizzy water, but the still water, drink as much as you can, but not many as they are recommending now, because we have riwayat discouraging us from drinking a lot of water. Drink water by the amount you like it. The riwayah from Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, معنى الرواية in Arabic الجسم لا يبلى كما يبلى الثوب. يعني when you wash the fabrics, the more you wash, the easier or the more
It erodes.
أحسنتم. So the riwayah bring us to, it says that the body is same as the fabric. Drinking a lot of water will erode it. This riwayah probably doesn't come in term with the medical
No, it does actually,
reason.
because
But
you
there
know
is
you
a
can
new
get
theory.
water poisoning. If you overdose in water, you
أحسنتم
can actually
أحسنتم.
overdose in water.
Plus we can't always stick to the medical and to the scientific reason. With all due respect, I'm a scientific person and highly respect science, but they used to say, for example, don't eat prawn because it increases cholesterol. Few years later, another theory says, sorry, we were mistaken, this and that.
No, of course, it's
So,
all scientific theories.
أحسنتم. They
I
are all
was-
hypothetical issues, so that's why sometimes we need to stick to the riwayat.
I was with my wife the other day. I was showing her my old textbook from science. I like, do you think my son will find this useful? She opened it. She's like, in this book it says there are 9 planets in the solar system. She closed it. She's like, that's not what they're teaching them in school anymore. They moved one of the planets. But anyway, we have a caller waiting. Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Kareem. Caller, your name and where you're calling from, please.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Kazim, calling from Reading.
Assalamu alaikum, brother Kadham from Reading. How is Reading this time of year?
It's fine. It's quiet.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. That's nice to have the quiet life. Tell me, brother Kadham, do you have an opinion on what's been discussed today? Do you have anything to add? A question for the Sayyid?
Yeah, I wanted to ask a question about weight surgery. So, if somebody has weight problems, let's say, and they have tried dieting and exercise, but it doesn't go. What is Islam, and what do you two think about weight surgery? Is it permissible? Is it a good idea?
Thank you, brother Kadham. Are you suffering from this problem yourself?
No, it's somebody that I know.
Okay, inshallah khair. Inshallah, God blesses them and they'll find the best solution. Saying that in terms of fiqh issue, I don't think, is there a problem
No.
with having? No, there
No,
isn't.
but there are other problems. It doesn't seem like, I'm just watching the time, it doesn't seem like today we will have enough time to cover everything about anorexia. So I hope that we will extend the thing till tomorrow, because I've got
Inshallah.
few things I want to mention. I will mention them tomorrow. The brother here asked a very good question, because nowadays it's become like fashion of the day. Everyone is having surgery, and even men, not only women, brothers, not only sisters, by reducing or the stomach, having a surgery. It is a problem, and I don't think it is recommended for so many reasons. Number one, unless it is recommended and asked by the
doctors.
doctor, do not do it. Surgery is not a recommended thing. Surgery means that you're having strange bodies get into your stomach, into your system. You're going to have anesthetic, you're going to have this and that. Why? What's for? There's no reason. Unless there is a threat to your life.
But the brother said that he's tried to lose weight.
Because he's not
Naturally.
happy about his look. And because nowadays, because they are not happy, and because they are trying to diet, and because they are going and doing this, which is not really a good idea.
I'm finding it difficult to lose weight naturally, though. You wouldn't advise me to do so?
Then don't lose. Everyone is good the way he looks.
No, but it's
as
in
lo-
terms of health, not in terms of
Well, if
looking.
I don't think it's impossible for someone to lose weight, providing that he can do sport and he can control the food and he can and he can and he can. And I think this surgery should be the last method, because when we have, even when people, I mean, because I have a back problem and others, slip disc, knee problems, surgery is the last solution. Always surgery is the last solution, because with surgery there can be side effects, complications, human error, doctor's error, mistakes, God knows what.
You don't seem like you like surgery about anything, Sayyid.
No, unless if it is a must and a need. Unless it's a must, especially when they put these things in the stomach. And nowadays, not only the stomach one, I hate the one about the eyes when they do it and stop people wearing the glasses. I don't know what they call it. Because
Laser eye surgery, you mean?
I don't like it. Why?
Oh, saying that you're making me waswas, because I was going to do it, very close to it.
The thing is, saying medicine proven that whatever they do, years later they said, sorry, we were mistaken, we thought this and we thought that. How can we guarantee that these kind of surgeries has no side effect? How can we guarantee that years later it wouldn't prove?
But when you sign the form, it says that there may be these kind of side effects. So you know what you're getting into.
أحسنتم. So unless it's a must, even for the eyes, if it became a must, then you do it. If it's not a must, why do we do it? There is no need. Especially with the stomach one, I think they put something.
There's one that you can put a ring around.
Yeah.
And then every
I think this is the only one. Are
no,
there other?
No, there's one that they actually cut part of the stomach.
Oh, this is even worse, because cutting, that means we're going to lose something, and there is no need for Allah create us the way we are, and we don't need to cut anything and throw it away. And I'm sure there are many ways of losing weight rather than going to the surgery.
You seem very, very strong
Very
about
decisive.
You feel very strong about
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
I
Plus,
was
it's waste of money as well. It's rough. They go, they pay hell a lot of money to the doctors and specialists and whoever.
You know, the NHS does do it for free to people as a last resort if they're suffering from obesity, by the way.
If they're suffering and if there is a danger in relation to their hearts, to their health, to their general health. I don't think the NHS is that generous. Should they do it just because they want people to look be more beautiful and slimmer? I don't.
No. As a last resort.
As a last, if there is a danger
of major obesity.
Major obesity, yeah. But alhamdulillah, yani, we do not suffer from that. So
maybe we do not, but I'm sure that there are people who suffer from that. I'm almost scared to give my opinion on this matter now, because I was going to say, if you think it will be beneficial for you, go for it, but you seem very much against the idea.
Surgery should be always meant to be and should be the last resort, the last method, the last kind of way to sort out the problems. Because when you use, or when anyone use surgery can have any kind of side effect, but just the anesthetic, except for some people, it can kill them. So I really don't recommend the surgery to anyone.
Okay, fair enough. So no surgery for brother Calvum from Reading. Sayyidina, there is obesity on one side and there is anorexia on the other side. Now this is a true issue that people are facing, and there is a huge link between these medical issues and the psychological demeanor of a person. I'll give you an example from my own self. When I get upset about something, I tend to eat more.
So am I.
There are some people who are pressured in school, for example, that they have to look skinny and beautiful like all these actresses. It stops them from eating. They start losing weight, or they'll eat their food and then, forgive me to come, they make themselves vomit. So from this side,
bulimia they call it.
Bulimia, which is
they when they have a problem, they eat and then they vomit. I'll talk about it in a minute.
How do we tackle this issue with people who begin to self-destruct when they eat more or they start not eating at all?
Talking about these issues, probably we only have 10 minutes, and I don't think 10 minutes is going to be enough. So Today is going to be an introductory. There are things which categories of diseases which are called anxiety disorder. When someone is anxious, he had this kind of disorder, and this can be anorexia, which is when you feel anxious, you don't eat because. Let me list them and then I'll explain about it.
Okay.
Anorexia, when you don't eat. Bulimia, when you eat a lot and you vomit. Alcoholism, drug addiction. OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, when you wash or you check. And these are all linked to anxiety. They called anxiety disorder. And
Obesity as well.
obesity is part of it. And why they call them anxiety disorder? Because it's directly linked with anxiety. If someone becomes anxious, then to stop, there's something in the brain to stop or to accommodate this kind of anxiety, he does such and such.
Turn to alcohol, turn to
Either he
drugs.
doesn't eat, anorexia, or he eat a lot and then they vomit, bulimia, or he drink alcohol, alcoholism, or he go to drug, or he wash, what we call in our tradition wiswas. And it's so unfortunate. I hope that
He
one
keeps
day,
doing repetitive actions over and over again.
one day we need to have a one show about wiswas, and because all of us
We do, and we need to
مبتلي-
make sure that the older generation watch it specifically.
even the younger, because the problem with waswas is the most serious anxiety disorder. Because because people practice waswas or practice OCD, including us, without noticing, and we think that it's us being religious,
Oh yeah,
or
when it
what
comes
we
to
say
that, yeah.
muhtab. And the problem with waswas, you don't feel until you are sunk inside. So let's go back to anorexia, because I don't want, I try to cover at least anorexia. Anorexia is a very dangerous anxiety disorder, and it's a fatal disease. People can die. I knew so many people, they develop other illnesses and they go. And one of the people who I knew, she started developing serious symptoms, and then she went, she lives in Iraq, and she went to Beirut for medical treatment. So, and nowadays there is like a lot of shouts and calls about how your weight, how you look like, whether you are attractive or you are not attractive, especially between ladies and girls. And I noticed that they start watching dramatically, and then at the beginning they say, I will eat this, I won't eat that, start measuring, start seeing if they can wear this kind of dress. I do know, because I heard a lot from those girls and ladies, size 12 and size 10. It make me go mad, because always I say, don't get into this size. Once they start going to size 8, that means there is a danger behind it. There is a problem.
What are we talking about sizes? Forgive me, I'm still like
dresses.
a caveman. I don't know what
Dresses.
Okay.
Because girls, they want the smallest size, so
Which is
the petite, which is 10 and 8 and these kind of thing. Anything 12 and below 12. 12 is reasonable, but when they go below 12 and when they insist that, and they got worried, and when the worry increase, and when they become angry or anxious or frustrated, and they are hungry but they can't eat because they are afraid, and when they are upset about something, they don't want to eat, and then when they are upset, they go and take their weights and measure dresses or shirts for men. That means there is a danger and there is a problem. And please, and please, and please, when you get into this stage, refer to your GP, if not to any local counselor. Unfortunately, free counseling is not available nowadays in the NHS. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not, depending on the clinic and the case and the area. So unfortunate, most of the counselors are private, and most of them, you can't go to them unless you are referred by a specialist, and those specialists, you need to see them privately. I highly recommend anyone with such a worry to go and see someone privately. It doesn't matter, even if it's an expensive, 150, 200, pay it and then refer to counselor. And it's very important, more important than spending on food and holidays, because later on, it will ruin your life. It can kill you. It will ruin your life. You end up paying more and more to private doctors for medications, and with the case of anorexia, you probably will develop other diseases like anything to do with blood pressure, you may end up having some people, they had stroke, they had these kind of things, because anorexia is a very dangerous kind of anxiety disorder. Talking about anorexia, to cover the topic, we need to talk about obesity. Many
Yes.
people are not happy about their body and about the shape, and I think one day we are going to talk about that. And this is when it gets to obesity, and this is when it gets to what we call bulimia as well. Bulimia is because they are all very linked. I don't know if I talk about obesity, it will take me, or I end up talking about body shape. And I know that we have a program one day about the shape of the body, right?
We do. So what we can do is, as you said, this is introductory. We will continue from this topic and then move to that topic as well.
أحسنتم أحسنتم. So the thing is, if someone is not happy about his body, and if these worries are more than or taking more of his time and keep him worried and anxious, then he needs to ask a friend or a relative or a medical person or someone or his GP or anyone who has got medical background. Getting to bulimia. Bulimia is when someone is anxious or panic or not happy or worried, they eat a lot and then they vomit. And this is a very complicated problem, but it's not more complicated than the others. The OCD is the most complicated one because it's the most difficult to treat. And this is because with bulimia, with anorexia, it's something to do with food, so at least it's physical. And when it gets to alcoholism or to drug, it's also they stop them from drinking or from being near the bottle but when it gets to OCD, it's nothing you can stop. You stop them from praying, repeating the prayer. Then he said, no, I'm going to go to hell, and so on and so forth. And hopefully one day we'll talk about it because we need
the worst is when they have to come and, as we call it in Iraqi, ta'la.
Yeah,
I have to wash this again. And I have to wash this again. And I have to wash this again.
Yeah, we all get into this at some
the
stage.
The tahara and nagasa issue
with water,
is a
and
disaster.
One of my friends, he used to say, like when they bring this kind of fire extinguisher or the fire brigade, they need to wash everything. But bear in mind, there is a misunderstanding, and they do need to go and do some tafaqquh fi din, to read and search and go through the Risala Amaliya, the fiqh books, because that probably will enable them to understand Tahara and Najasa in a better way, and would help them to understand Shakiyat as-Salah and these kind of things, which is directly linked to OCD. Going back to obesity and to bulimia, anyone who is not happy about his body and or anyone who feel that he eat, and when we say that when we feel upset we eat, not like the people with bulimia. Bulimia is they eat and vomit, they eat and vomit, and they eat and
excessive
vomit.
eating.
Excessive, and they feel release when they eat. So it's something to do with the anxiety. But
obesity is the same.
Yeah, and they have many.
Because obesity is basically, I can tell you, Sayyidina, I come home, for example, not me, but people come home, they're upset, something's going wrong, they can't do this, they can't do that. They eat, they eat, they eat, they eat, they eat. Second day, third day, fourth day, suddenly they start putting on weight, putting on weight, putting on weight, putting on weight. Before they know what they can do, suddenly they've imploded.
The thing is, the bell should ring when you feel that you are upset and you are doing these kind of acts, and you feel better when you are physically doing it, like when you are eating or when you are not eating, but after that you feel disaster, you feel depressed.
But you do.
Yeah.
While you're eating, you feel like you're moving away your troubles. As soon as you finish eating,
you regret
get that.
Yeah. If the curve moves dramatically, go up and down, then there's a problem. The bell should ring.
Sayyidina.
Go and see your GP.
Unfortunately, we've just been saved by the bell. We need to discuss this more. as you said, we only managed to introduce the topic because we were having so much fun discussing your diet, to be honest. Let's start off tomorrow's show by discussing this topic, and then moving to OCD, and then moving on to body image.
أحسنتم جزاكم
You
الله
happy
خير
with that,
الجزاء.
inshallah?
Inshallah. Thank you very
Excellent.
much.
Thank you for
شكرا.
joining me again.
شكرا.
To
Thank
all
you.
the Daily Beloved all around the world, thank you for joining us for another episode, and inshallah we'll be seeing you tomorrow. For those who have already broken their fast, inshallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your amal, and for those who are about to break their fast, inshallah you have a very lovely meal with your family. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.